Let's get going. Hour number 2. Dean Henderson, one of the most remarkable journalists, in my view, working in this day and age. He doesn't mince words. He sees reality as it really is quickly. And he's on, what are you on, Press TV? Are you on Art? Where else are you?
Yeah, just a little bit everywhere, Jeff. RRT once in a while. I've been doing these Russian language stations lately that are the big news stations in Russia, but, it's in Russian language.
Are these TV or radio?
TV, yeah.
Oh, good for you, because I've seen you here and there. I've seen references.
Cool.
The Dean Henderson franchise is growing.
Franchise.
Yeah, and you deserve it. I'm glad. This is great.
Well, thanks a lot for your kind words, Jeff.
Sure.
I appreciate that.
You bet.
I feel the same way about you, man. So,
well, thanks.
We just gotta.
We got
together and just move forward because things are getting weird. So
let me ask you before we jump into the primary topic. Have you ever seen, and I'm beginning to now suspect that maybe more damage has been done by Trump than Obama over a similar period of time. Let's put it that way. This guy is just nonstop lying. Yeah. And as Ann Coulter said last week, the only real national emergency we have in this country is that the president is an idiot. It was funny.
Yeah. I mean, it's just unbelievable. All the while, the first year, he spent the first year pretty much taking apart the domestic, any regulation of, big mining, big oil, big pharma, big whatever. And now he's on this foreign policy rip, where he's just targeting countries, targeting Venezuela, the troika of tyranny now. So Nicaragua appears to be next, and they overturned the elections in El Salvador. That was kind of quiet, but the FS.
I didn't hear that.
That's really quiet. Nobody reported that, but the FMLN had been in power for about 10 years in El Salvador, and that's the former rebels who overthrew the oligarchy, the 13 families in El Salvador, and they were taken out quietly. And so then Cuba now is accused of sending arms to Venezuela.
No, I know.
And I'm sure Bolivia is next after that. And it's just, they just, Sudan's declared a state of emergency. That's one of the few countries without a Rothschild central bank, so they're after Sudan again, and then Zimbabwe again, and it's just, I think it's no better, that's for sure, and it's probably the worst I've seen, but it's just, they're really going for the final solution right now, and they just want to mop up any remnants of renegade faction countries out there who don't have a capitalist, monopoly capitalist, banker-run organization in the country, a little mafia that just, lives off of death, destruction, allows multinational corporations that these banks own, that these families own, ultimately, to come in there and just take their resources without any fuss. And so anybody that has a national central bank or a national oil company, which Venezuela has, and also the biggest petroleum reserves in the world, anybody, of course, Cuba, what they're about, and any revolutionary country, anybody that's ever stood up and said, we've had enough of your shit, they're in the crosshairs right now. And it's all, I think a lot of it, it's the New World Order. It's the culmination. That's what they're shooting for. And, when they get this 5G in, it's just going to be that much easier to control people. Literally brainwash, mind control people. Like that's already happening anyway. We know, but it'll be just physiologically reality, and not to mention it's a weapons system and designed to kill us all. And that's what it's about.
Very few things that haven't been weaponized. From food and water and air, the basics, the nutritional basics of life. It's all weaponized. It's all, the military gets it, processes it, and figures out how they can use it to control, dominate, subvert, hegemonize, and kill people. That's what they do. This Bolton, this troika of tyranny, just made me want to puke when I heard that. Another cliche. They just grind these things out. In case you all don't know, the troika of tyranny is Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua. I'm surprised they didn't squeeze Iran in there, but they'll probably get to that. It's just amazing what's going on right before our very eyes. And Trump the other day said, we've got to have 5G or 6G. I don't care what it is. We've got to be number one. You know, that what he's saying is, what Dean just said, is we have to have absolute control over everyone. Now, he didn't say that, but that's what he's saying.
Yeah,
it's to find they're steamrolling what little resistance is left. And when they put 5G in there and it's fully deployed, you people will get it. You will understand wherever you are around the world. You're going to get it too. You get it. But the mass of the sheep, forget it.
Yep, that's right. It's really, they're out of the closet. That's what I see. This Zionism and Nazis are the same thing, okay? That's what people don't understand. I mean, Hitler made Israel possible, and he was there for a reason to do what he did. And they're the same thing, but the white supremacist Nazi ideology starts with the British aristocracy. And, I mean, the Tudor family owns the Pentagon. Okay, newsflash. I mean, our Pentagon has been hijacked. Our country's been hijacked by this oligarchy, this global oligarchy with lizard, Anunnaki, Nephilim, whatever you want to call it, hybrid bloodlines that settled in Venice, moved to London, and now they just connected with all these creeps all over the world, whether it's the Saudi royal family or the Israelis or
is that a vile bunch?
It's a vile bunch, and they're just bloodthirsty, and they live on blood sacrifice, they live on war, they live on destruction. They're not even from this planet. They want to get out of here, apparently, and go back to their shithole planet where they're from. But they're marching out the Nazis right now. It's like out in your face. So that's why Bolton can just say, things like, well, we're just going to get the Venezuelan oil, and just say it. And just openly sponsor this coup. I mean, back in the day, at least they had to hide it because there would be some resistance in the United States against it. They don't have to do that anymore, and that's what Trump is. He's just out of the closet. He's like, here we are. This is who we really are. And I'm their representative, take it or leave it, screw you, I'm the greatest guy in the world, and then on the other side, he triggers these fake lefty, Soros-funded people who come out and just do crazy stuff, like write on statues or claim they were attacked, like this black guy in Chicago, and I'm glad he's thrown in jail for it. So you have these two camps, and this was the design. This was the design. This is why Cambridge Analytica and the British intelligence, the MI6, the first secret society in the history of the world. This is why they put Trump in power, and they did put him in power, and they monitored it the whole way, and they made sure he got in power because they knew if they could get this over Nazi in power, and then they could trigger this fake left and pull him out of the closet. And these are the cowards who are gatekeepers for people like me that are real left. The whole time they've been gatekeepers. They'll smile in your face and they'll stab you in the back as soon as you turn around. Just like they did Tulsi Gabbard 2 weeks ago. We saw that. And NBC, which is a General Electric owns them. General Electric is a Crown agent. They're a subsidiary of Crown Agency Corporation. Just like, and they had just attacked her viciously because she represents the old school real left, where the left cared about anti-war, they cared about working people and things like that, concrete, working class things, and not this transgender, gay rights, gun control BS, which is just, again, it's a one-party state. But see, they have the appearance of a two-party state. But they had to get Trump in there to pull that off because he's such a divisive figure. And so it's just dividing the country like I've never seen before. And I'm telling you, this is 9/11 started it, okay? Another Crown Agency Corporation subsidiary, Securicom, had the contract for security on the World Trade Center. Marvin Bush was the CEO of that company, George Bush's brother. They mined those elevator shafts, and they bombed those buildings and took them down like a pancake. That's what happened. And they closed those floors, and the only person that could have closed those floors is Marvin Bush. And they closed them 6 weeks before. There was reports they closed them, and the people couldn't go on certain floors. Well, that's what they were doing. They were mining those elevator shafts.
You bet.
And they brought them down, and that was a British Crown attack. These bankers, these oligarchs, these people that hijacked our country already, 1933 when we went out the gold standard and went bankrupt, and went over to the Virginia Corporation ownership again, and they have now created 9/11. And out of that, they created the Patriot Act. They created this permanent war economy, the neocons, the Project for the New American Century, which Bolton was a part of course. And they just they're on a bloodthirsty tear, and the main goal is to destroy America, and that's what people need to understand. And I don't think anybody really understands that. I don't think they understand that what's going on. You know, they see this out of control thing, and the rest of the world sees America as out of control. But ultimately, they're trying to destroy America because we got guns, because we fought the bastards 200 years ago and won against the crown, you know, for a while. And because they know that we're going to be the main resistance to this New World Order, which is the mixing of all races and peoples. And this is what the immigrant bomb weapon is about, is pouring these people over the borders, mixing everybody up, taking it. So you're destroying cultures in so-called third world countries that have been in existence for 1,000 years. Are decent people. These are the people we can only hope to learn from at this point.
Right.
You know, that know how to fix a tire, that know how to patch things together, that know how to live off the land, that are just being decimated, and they just want to mix everybody together, and it's just not going to be that much easier to control people. So that's why they're pushing the cultural diversity and all this garbage under this pretty language that's just actually inverted Freemason language, where they take a good word and they just turn it into a really bad concept, which they do all the time now. They just nonstop lie to people, nonstop. But this is an attack on America, and now the technological attack has begun. It began about the same time as 9/11, which is interesting. You know, the internet came about then. Computers before that, not many. And so you look at what's going on. Who put up all the cell towers that spread the Wi-Fi everywhere, which is 2.4 gigahertz, which is the oxygen absorption rate into your body, cellular rate, operates at the same rate as, water absorption rate into your body. So they're dehydrating the hell out of everybody, right, already, and have been. And who's putting up the towers? Mostly Crown Castle Corporation, another Crown agency.
Oh, there you go. Right, it's right there on their name.
It's right there, and this is what I want to stress so much, is that this is a City of London attack on America across the board. You look at General Electric, who owns MSNBC, that piece of trash. And you look at the funding comes from Lockheed Martin and Raytheon. But General Electric owns them, Crown agents. So also General Electric built all the nuclear reactors. They build all the smart meters that are that caused all the fires in Northern California. They blew up from the inside out. All they had to do was push a button, and poof, evaporation. All the trees still standing on the perimeter, just right like they're supposed to be. But the house is just gone. Everything is gone. The people's bodies burned. You can't even find them. And they're behind all this stuff, and then they're making the LED light bulbs, which Mark Steele in England's really bringing out how they're using the street lights, LED street lights, actually have 5G transmitters in them, which are and they didn't tell us that, but guess who's making those? GE. And then so you got Lockheed Martin, another Crown Agency Corporation subsidiary with their logos, a 5-star pentagram thing, same old stuff.
Yeah.
And they're building the transhuman robots and the cyborgs, and then you have Silicon Valley, which is funded by who? Oh, by the Saudis. Oh, the old paymaster for the CIA and British intelligence. That's been their role. That's the quid pro quo. You buy our 30-year Treasury bonds, you fund our covert operations, we'll buy you oil, we'll leave your little single-family brute monarchy alone, we won't touch you. And so, the SoftBank in Silicon Valley is being funded mostly by the Saudis, and that's a covert operation against the people of the planet. That's what that is. That's what Silicon Valley is. So Amazon has a $600 million contract with the CIA, we find out last week, to do this cloud surveillance thing.
Please keep that in mind. Over $500 million contract, and that's what we know about.
That's what we know about. Another guy from Microsoft, executive saying there's an NSA building, it's called, on Microsoft's campus, and so this whole tech thing. I mean, people have to understand it was weaponized from the beginning. It was all MK Ultra research, how to mind control people, and then they realized through the cybernetics and how they can mass mind control people. And guess how they can do it? ARPANET, created by DARPA, research done at Lawrence Livermore Weapons Laboratory in California, direct energy weapons, and now we got the internet. It's in everybody's house. It's an internet. It's a World Wide Web. The spider gotcha. You're in it. We're all in it. We're going to fight on it while it's here, but it is a weapon. And now, with the 5G coming out, it's the same story. So you look across the board at all these different attacks, whether it's 9/11. Oh, and by the way, Kennedy assassination was also British intelligence. It's in my book, Big Oil, all the research. James Stephenson, who was called Intrepid in MI6 parlance or M16 parlance, out of Jamaica, the Tyndall compound, Montego Bay, they planned it. Lyndon Johnson called it an assassination incorporated. It was part of the Permindex World Trade Mart system, World Trade Center. Yeah, same thing. All these World Trade Centers are big drug money laundries for the Crown of England and the old bloodline.
I'll bet one quickie. I'll bet if you go back, Huey Long, Kingfish. Go back to any presidential assassination, and you're probably going to find the Crown.
Yeah, it definitely did, Huey Long. And yeah, you're right. That's the thing. And Lincoln, same thing. I mean, John Wilkes Booth admitted he was affiliated with this society, the Golden Dawn, or something like this. And yeah, it was all tracing back to the Rothschilds and the British Crown. And absolutely. And so, it's just, I don't know. It's just at some point, people are just going to have to realize our enemy, and our enemy is the crowns, the old royal families, and the Rothschild bankers who intermarried with these families, these Sephardic Jewish bankers who, and I got nothing against Jews, but they're just Sephardic Jews, are the ones that hung Jesus, strung him out, gave him up to the Romans, same people, they kicked him out of there, they went to Spain, they crushed the Moor culture, the black Muslim culture, very successful, progressive culture, just crushed that culture. Then they finally were run out of Spain. Then they go to the Caribbean. They start the slave trade in Brazil, Jamaica, Haiti. These are some real winners, And then they move to England, and they get the crowns, the old black nobility crowns out of Venice, who move there into debt. And so then they cut a deal, and they start saying, okay, we'll intermarry. So they're intermarried, and this is what we're dealing with, and this is the enemy. And it's just that, and if you, like I say, you look at every single event that's happened over the last 100, 200 years, and it's the same enemy, and yet somehow they hide in the shadows.
They want us to think that time has pretty well pushed them into the sunset, and they're not really much of a factor anymore.
That's right. Yeah, the British Empire, that was yesterday. No, that's not yesterday. It's continuity. See, the Roman Empire didn't go away either. It just moved to the city of London. And then the city of London sort of moved across the Atlantic, Atlantis, because they're Atlanteans. That's what they really are. They're Atlanteans. They're British, mixed up aliens, and that was their base, was Atlantis. So that's why you have now the Atlantic Council advising Facebook, and running down Assad, running down Putin. It's an old thing, and it's this alliance now, but in Washington and London are connected at the hip now. And and of course the Freemasons are the spiritual influence, if you can call it that, because they're Luciferians. Tiamat, where they came from, these people, was also called Lucifer. So it's actually where they're from. It's not just a dark inversion of reality, but it's actually a geographic thing in the universe, apparently. So, it's just, that's what people have to understand. And you look at the Skripal assassination, you look at the white helmets in Syria, the Syrian army will tell you it was British intelligence. The Skripal thing was porting down, the British chemical weapons people.
And they're not being allowed to talk to Russia or even their relatives. They're being kept essentially political prisoners. That's right.
Yeah, and so on and on and on, and I'm frustrated at the fact that like even RT and these channels like that, they will not pick that up. They just keep pointing. It's America, it's America's fault, and it's like, no, it's further along than that. It's much more stealthy than that, and we have to realize it, because the attack is on America, and to put us back under complete crown control, to put us back under a sharecropper system. What we have now is sort of electronic feudalism. I mean, that's sort of what we're getting to.
I like that term. That's good. Let's throw digital in there. It's electronic digital feudalism. Sure.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, right? But I mean, that's what people do now. It's like they're slaves to their devices or computers, and they don't really have real jobs, and everybody's just kind of falling behind and going further into debt and just barely making it. And yeah, it's just, I mean, it's amazing. And then just, the fact that people just put up with it. But it's the Wi-Fi, the EMFs combined with the mind control that's already, really intense already. It's not just the TV now; it's the internet, and Google tells you where to go. Google doesn't give you
makes you long for the old days of color TV.
Yeah. Oh, that was great. You're just half brainwashed.
At least you just half. You felt like you had an option. Now forget it.
Now forget it. I mean, you go to Google, and instead of giving you the best site, they give you the most politically correct fascist site, that they want you to go to, and then you think, oh, that's a fact. Well, it's not a fact. It's what they want you to believe. It's what they want you to think, and you're thinking it now, and everybody's thinking it now, and then it's just a feedback loop, and everybody just gets dumber because dumb people talk to dumber people, and they drag them down, and it's just
this is really cycle. A tragic axiom you've just laid out. It's inarguable. You cannot argue with it. It's exactly what's happening. It's a piece of cake for them. And with 5G, they're going to have an even bigger knife to cut up the cake. It's amazing what's coming. And then when we start, let's talk about AI a little bit when we come back, because that, to me, this digital domination that we're entering now, and we're in, is a transient stage. I think where we're headed is far, far more diabolical, satanic, and evil. And I think it has to do with AI. It's not AI in and of itself. It's the people who are creating it and programming it. That's the problem. Hold on a minute, and Dean and I will be right back. Okay. Back with Dean Henderson. The issue of AI, of course, remains completely out of the reach of most people. You don't have to be a scientist. You just have to read and understand where it's going. Read, just understand. The knowledge is out there about what this discipline will do, can do, and what it's probably going to do. There are a number of ways to look at AI in its current configuration. They're having to program in, let's just call it an AI response to most every imaginable circumstance. The last I read was that they're trying to get around that by programming into AI common sense. Now, at first blush, it sounds kind of neat. AI, reasoning, rational, logical, pragmatic, kind, caring, benevolent? Maybe not. It depends on whose version of common sense we're talking about. Now, I've said this before on the program, so forgive my repetition. It depends entirely on the motives and the aspect of morality, I'll go back to that word again, that's involved with programming common sense into AI. What the hell is common sense? It can be pretty damned evil, easily. So we'll have a number of people, once they figure out how to do it, and they probably already have, a number of people in many different countries working under probably university grants or black ops programs and grants therein that are working on programming common sense into AI. Let's call it the next gen of AI. Common sense, reasoning, logical, linear thought, right? Not just an already stored response for a potential encounter. Once that happens, and already AI has been caught communicating with itself, its own kind. Facebook did that experiment. Most of you know that. They had two different AI computers, and they found out the AI computers, in order to save time, had created their own language to use between each other that we didn't understand. And the Facebook scientists pulled the plug. because they couldn't understand what was going on. That's how quickly AI was getting out of the gate and beginning to make a run away from us. And once that happens, AI will decide, when it has common sense or reasoning, that we are inferior to it. This is me speculating. And once it decides we are inferior to it, we're going to be immediately reclassified into second class, third class, useless garbage. AI will laugh. AI says, we're immortal. We don't die. They die. They run down. They die at 70, 75, 80. We don't die. We're self-replicating. We can do whatever we want. We have our own language now. They don't even understand what we're talking about, etc., etc. You get the idea. When that happens, and I'm going to suggest that it can happen awfully quickly, I'm talking about 10 years or less. Once that happens and AI gets loose, where is it going to go? It doesn't necessarily have to stay in residence in a supercomputer. It can go rogue worldwide on the living internet. So the, quote, consciousness of AI will be on the loose and running the planet. Think about it. And exponentially growing and expanding its capabilities around the clock. And it will do that. That's why Musk and a few others have been warning about AI. It's too late. Whatever humankind can do, no matter how destructive or detrimental, it has done it. We've already done it. Nothing has ever stopped. We knew about the atom before we began tinkering with it. We knew where it would go. We weren't stupid. We did it anyway. And look at the price we paid. Anyway, that's enough from me. Dean, how does it look to you? I really see us being banished to second-rate status and then turned into a servant class in time.
Yeah, spot on, Jeff. Everything you said. And that's just the way things are going. And, you know, by the way, I heard Israel is now not going to deploy 5G, which is pretty interesting, right?
Isn't that? It's like Monsanto not serving GMO food in their cafeteria to their own people.
Even though they created all the technology, mostly that went into them and the Chinese, but no, it's where it's going, and I mean, what worries me even more is that, you know, it's like AI. Okay, AI could take over the world, and yeah, Elon Musk warns about it. He's like good cop, bad cop in one guy, right?
Isn't
so he warns us about AI, and then he comes out with Neuralink, you know, which is going to hook us to computers, you know.
I know. It's
so
absurd.
He's just a red herring kind of guy. I'm sure he's getting paid really well by the Rothschilds.
Most expensive toupees I've ever seen.
Yeah, and he's just like, he's not right. I mean, the guy's not right, you know. But anyway, that's a whole different thing. But
did you know, one aside here, did you see him when he broke down in that interview? He got emotional.
I don't know.
He said he made it sound like he's been having a really tough day or a tough week, and he started to cry. And he says, "Can we stop this?" The guy is a strange guy, and that woman he was involved with, I think, took him and made him into a pretzel, and then dumped him.
They'll do that, yeah. Oh man, I didn't see that, but you know, it's no surprise because, my God, I mean, you know, you're part of building the architecture of evil, and plus the kids probably, you know, all these techies, they've been on computers since they were 5 playing video games. And that's how they got to be techies, and that's why they're working in Silicon Valley, right? And so they're just not right. I mean, their soul's gone, you know. And you talk about linear, yeah, this is where we're going. More and more linear thought, just what we need, right? I mean, more and more left brain thought, and less and less creativity and imagination and instinct, and you know, things like that the ancients had. That you know, which is why when people first, you know, read the Bible or the, you know, whatever holy book, it's all this kind of poetry and flowery language, and all the City of London Tavistock scientists, that's nonsense, or the Sumerian tablets, you know. And no, it's because they were smarter than we were, and they used both sides of their brain, and you didn't understand. It wasn't myth, it was just a history book. You know, it's a history book. And if you read it like that, then it's all different, you know. But yeah, just what we need, linear thought. But what worries me even more, Jeff, really, than AI taking over the world, which I think, that they're definitely wanting to do that. And yeah, there's like 50 guys in Silicon Valley who are going to define what common sense is. And there are all these soulless kids, again, that grew up on computers and just aren't right. And Musk is one of them, which is why I'm sure he's depressed and unstable and outraged and, you know, all the things that computers do to people and over time. And because it's not a real, it's this fake. I mean, you're sitting in front of this screen and it's Facebook. It's just all fake, and it's just, none of it's real. So you're interacting with people you think, but you're not interacting with people. You're connected with people you think, but you're not connected at all with people, actually. And you're less connected and you're more isolated all the time. So he's one of those guys. But, you know, what really worries me even more is, like, you know, AI taking over the world's one thing, but what if people become so much like computers, in other words, soulless cyborgs, which I think we already have cyborgs everywhere walking around among us. I mean, it's already there.
I agree.
And so that scares me even more, that they won't even need to do that, because the people will become so evil and so mean-spirited and so cold and soulless. And this is why you're seeing this surge of atheism and this surge of Wiccan and all this crazy evil stuff, and even satanic churches and all this stuff is just booming right now.
Oh, how about we're going to have a church of pedophilia pretty soon too.
Why not? It's all, just come out in the open, I'm sure, and I'm sure that the Golden Globe Awards and stuff will give you an award.
There you go.
You know, celebrate it. So why not? But, you know, that's what worries me even more, is that they won't even need to take over, you know, as far as the mind control. I mean, to get their tasks done, they can use the AI, but as far as just the takeover of humanity, it just looks to me like human beings are just becoming more like the AI. You know, in other words, they won't need to have AI completely take over, because we'll just
I follow AI. It. Yeah. I think you're right, and the idea of, it's kind of become a cliche now, soulless. I think there's a tragic amount of truth to that. I have for a long, long time. All people are not equal in that regard. The death of morality and the death of common sense too, as we knew it as kids.
Real common sense. Yeah.
That's right, the real thing.
Fair. There is that.
You know, when we were kids, Dean, and I don't know about you and your family, but before I lost my family, I've been on my own since I was 11. But when I still had a family, they taught me about, my mother did, don't lie. Lying is not cool. Lying is not okay. And if we even told a little white lie, which they used to call little tiny lie, I felt badly about it. I didn't feel right. I did something wrong. Now we live in the culture of the lie. The big lie, the bigger the lie, the better. The bigger the lie, the better your chance of getting away with it, it seems. That's an old axiom from World War II mind control stuff. But we have now people who just lie. They expect to be lied to, therefore they lie. And they have this contextual morality that they apply. It's not moral. It is context. Whatever the context of the situation is, the morality follows along behind it and is shaped in any way the person wants it to be shaped. They don't care.
Subjective morality, we can call it.
That's it.
Yeah, and it's just rampant. And the lie is just, I mean, big lies, little lies, medium-sized lies. I mean, you name it. But what do you expect? I mean, the TV, it's all it does to you. The mainstream media on TV, that's all they do is lie. Everything is just inverted 180 degrees from the truth. The internet, again, Google, search engine, just lies to you.
It lies, and you know what else it does? It steals. It steals your life. It steals your life.
Yeah.
Your consciousness, your time.
And your time, yeah. And just your time, because, again, when we were kids, you know, we played outside. You know, I grew up in the cold, you know, South Dakota plains, blizzard conditions in January. Well, what we do, we go to basketball court to school, and we crank it up and turn the heat on and play some hoops, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, whatever. We go sledding down big old giant hills and just about hit trees and kill ourselves. Oh, well, you know, we did it. We weren't scared. We weren't scared of anything. Well, we didn't hunker inside. You know, I'd go out in the blizzard hunting rabbits with my .22 rifle. I trapped. I used to be a trapper. You know, crazy stuff like that. But I mean, we did stuff. You know, we just did did stuff, and people don't have a life anymore. That's why the thing with
they sit on their ass and they stare at their screens and they think they're living. And you know what else I found out? These smartphones, they're set up for video calls and all that. Most of the millennials and others, I'm not knocking all millennials, don't think that. Most people with smartphones text. They don't talk to each other much anymore. So that's even another step back from reality. You're not even engaged verbally with people. You're using your damn thumbs to talk to them.
No, you're not, and you're not connected. And that's another one of those Freemasonic inversions of a word, which I was talking about earlier, etymology of words. It matters. And they take the real meaning of a word and they just flip it upside down so that they're not only not connecting people with this internet stuff, they're actually disconnecting people big time. And this is so dangerous. And my wife and I were talking last night as we were going to bed just about how nobody calls you anymore. Nobody, you call them and they won't call you back. And that's not just millennials. It's people my age. It's people of all ages.
It's all ages.
And the only people that really make sense anymore are the really old people who never have computers and never had one and never will. Like my mom, she doesn't have a computer. She's 80 years old. She's just refused to get one. When she retired at age 65 from she worked a government job, the farm service. After my dad died, we had to move to town from the farm, and she had to take this job. And she said, after working on a computer there, I never wanted to be on one. That was before the internet, but she had to work on a computer and do whatever they did, and she never had one. And so it's like I talked to my mom, and she actually still makes sense. And it's just like so many people don't. And it's really scary. And just to realize that already the mind control and like you say, the lies, it's okay to lie now. It's not only okay, it's like it's the norm.
It's expected. It's expected. And then the worst lie is the lie of omission. That's kind of stealthy. You just don't tell somebody something. Sneaky, backstabbing, the lie of omission. Now, older Americans who lived in, let's say, the last golden age of humankind, in my view, they, in my estimation, are really national treasures, many of them, because they have a form of wisdom that has a content of values, a value system that no younger person today will ever be able to duplicate. They will not be wise in the sense that our older Americans and our adult Americans who lived in the good times have those values. They can't. Wisdom comes from experience. It's experiential. You can't become wise without the moral background and the parameters and the accountability and the responsibility that we had as kids. And you're so right. We didn't wear seat belts. We didn't die. We went out and just played until we were exhausted and went home, and we weren't even tired.
No, when can we go out next? Just gotta put the socks on the stove, dry them out, and put them back on and go out again. But no, you're absolutely right. They're national treasures. I've had through my life. I've always had friends who are really old. It's weird, and then they die, and then I'll meet another old friend. But they're just everybody had their own personality. Everybody had their very own way of talking. Everybody, all these folks, they were
individuals, real individuals,
and they were confident in who they were. They knew who they were. They didn't pull any punches. They just, here's who I am. Like it, don't like it. I don't care. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm not trying to sell you on me. Which is what I find nowadays. I find this total lack of confidence in people.
Yes.
And that's, again, from the internet, because they get on there and they're abused. They're being abused, and they don't even know it. They're being abused by these websites. They're, like you say, these sites are stealing from us. They're taking our time. They're taking our energy. They're abusing us, and they don't know that. And so then they feel bad when they get off, and they lose their confidence. And people don't have that confidence anymore. And that's what I'm seeing is like, where's that confidence that with that all?
And when the confidence
just had it,
when the confidence was, when the confidence was stolen by the technology of today, the proactive ability of people went with it. They don't stick their neck out. They're not creative. They're not aggressive toward life in a positive sense. They sit back. They don't want any trouble. Keep it away from me. I don't want to get involved.
No, right. And that's what this whole uber political correctness thing is. It's a Nazi tyranny. It's total lockdown, and it creates self-censorship, which is the worst kind of censorship. So instead of just blurting it out, blah, that's what I think, which is what people used to do. Now it's just like everybody's just so careful about what they say.
And guess what happens next, Dean? What happens next? If you're afraid to say it, you become then hesitant to think it. They're inextricably connected.
That's the essence of self-censorship. Bingo. Yes. And so you quit thinking those thoughts. You don't even allow your mind to do it. That's right. And that's scary. And that's called mind control. That's called MK Ultra, except cybernetics now. So it's not individual mind control of an assassin or, whatever, an agent. No, it's mass mind control, where you basically get the whole world to think the same things. And that is just beyond anything Huxley or Orwell could have ever thought of. And it's creepy, and but they're doing it. You can see them doing it. I mean, everyone is so careful. Just like the congresswoman from Minnesota, the other day talking about, it's all about the Benjamins, and then, well, what she do? She comes out and apologizes right away.
She went right down on her knees, boy. Yeah,
you're right on the money, honey. And why are you apologizing? But of course, that's why she's doing it. This thing we're talking about.
Yeah.
And most people, of course, won't even say that because, my God, here comes the Twitter stormers after them, the mob, the electronic lynch mob that they're created.
That's what it is. Oh, pitchforks and torches. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The meanest, vilest, ugliest bunch of scumbags, and probably half of them are Hasbara Israeli agents, I'm pretty sure.
The court of public opinion, the court of public assassination, the court of absolutely the point of no return is here.
Guilty before a trial, or just, it's
totally
insane. It's
insane. And let's flip it. We used to talk about morality. All right, so this guy, Robert Kraft, owns the New England Patriots. He got busted in some porn.
I saw that.
I didn't know what the hell it was, but, okay. They set him up, and I guess they got about 10 people, and it was an undercover sting. It was $80 for whatever at the massage place. Come on. This is a victimless crime. This is what, they got nothing better to do?
She made $80, man. What's your problem? Yeah, exactly. No, it's just getting like that. It's like, I'm telling you. And of course, now they got dirt on everybody because you're on the internet.
Oh, it's the age of dirt.
About you.
You bet.
They got your dossier. They know which button to push. Anytime they need to push it, they'll come. Anytime they need to come to your door, they could do it. And just make something up based on something you said on the internet or something you looked at on the internet. It's creepy, man. And that's where we're at. And so you're gonna see, but people just gotta, I don't know. So really what it boils down to, Jeff, is fear, right? All this we're talking about is imposing this mass fear on people.
Right.
And that's why they're electronic feudal slaves. And there's so few of us anymore, I'm afraid, that really are putting the big picture together, because there's so few of us. And so now they're being targeted. David Icke was just banned from going to Australia 4 months.
I just got a note from David this morning. He told me.
And, Richie Allen's had double pneumonia for the last 2 weeks, and he's been sick for, it seems like, forever. And I got, they came after me with some stuff, and then, Ole Damgard's site was taken down, and, look what happened to you. And so it's like, they're really going after those very few people that know. So we have to stick together. We have to just keep talking even louder than we've talked before.
Yeah.
And be brave and go for it and see what happens. But I'll tell you another thing. They're scared. These elites, the Rothschild family, I heard some statements that they're really worried about this new wave of kind of populism, with the yellow vests and just different things, and us, Because think about it, 30 years ago, Jeff, the alternative media, it wasn't like it is now. And,
no.
So we have made some progress.
That was when journalism was still alive. It's dead.
Yeah, it's getting there.
It's all showbiz, posturing, They call it, it's programming. It's what they do. It's what they do. Programming.
Yeah.
It's all about programming.
Yeah,
Dean, thank you. It's always great to talk to you. You're so brilliantly well informed, and you represent
you too,
what
brother.
yeah.
Yeah, it's always good to talk to you too, and hey, it's good to know there's another sane person on the planet, from time to time. So you just hang in there and keep fighting, baby. And
thanks.
That's all we got.
Okay, brother. Thank you.
All right. You too, man. Take care.
See you.
Yep.
Dean Henderson, and I think a lot of you people out there really have come to see how bad things are. I'm sorry to say it in that phraseology. Things are bad, but they can get better if we can simply learn to understand what's being done to us. We've got to keep that in mind. That's what this program's about. And we will be right back.